well. Pretty similar bands here. Aurelia going to be the change here, though, for Sudden Fear.
Yeah, didn't like Squiggle on that one at all. At one point, he was just diving onto Energizer and completely occupying all of their time. Was just probably taking up too much. Xerath being taken away, though, from for Qlimax crew, away from APAPS. Didn't like the poke comp.
Yeah, and I think both teams kind of recognizing that, you know what, we had these couple of bands. Let's adjust a few things that we saw in Game 1. Didn't like the Aurelia for Sudden Fear. Really didn't like the Xerath there for Qlimax crew. But Nah is going to be left open if that's where Sudden Fear want to take their first pick.
Yeah, and we've seen Nah really have mixed results as it's now changed over to Rek'Sai. We've seen be absolutely dominant in some games, and then if Nah isn't very coordinated, be like very, very confusing in other games. So I feel that Sudden Fear have shown they have the team coordination, particularly with some of those Xerath Caitlyn duos that we saw late game. So maybe not a bad pickup, but Janna now being hovered. I would like the Janna pickup. Did a lot of work for Brawler last game.
I mean, just in general, Sudden Fear are kind of going through the three typical champions we expect to be picked in this spot. Any of these picks would be a great first pick, but just again, red side drafting, you're going to get two good picks here. That is going to be Janna for Sudden Fear, so Brawler is going to have a revisit on that champion. But if they want, Qlimax can take Nah and Rek'Sai here, and Jarvan as well is also open still.
Yeah, I think Nah Jarvan, the Narvan combo is so good with that Cataclysm coming down and then the massive Nah to really lock up the whole team if you're able to get them there. If you tie that with something like an Orianna, which Katie is competent in playing, like it's just a lot of wombo combo potential. In saying that, you do need something to get on top of Brawler because playing this Janna disengaged will be very important against the Nah.
Yeah, I mean, Nah is such an interesting champion to me because it feels like Mini Nah is just kind of and Mega Nah is just like, what? Like, they're so different. Is Thresh actually going to be the pick there for Qlimax? Nah, Thresh, their first two picks.
Yeah, interesting. See what they go here. Doesn't really give much away from their team comp. Thresh, of course, very, very good in pick compositions, good at repositioning people around the map, but doesn't really add anything to Nah that you would have to say. So, have to wait for the next couple of picks coming through from Qlimax crew. Of course, now on Sudden Fear, maybe see the Ezreal being taken away from Stealthix. I thought that that was a nice pick. Didn't mind the Caitlyn pick, but didn't really use it the way we're used to seeing Caitlyn. I feel that they could have ran any AD carry in that composition and would have accomplished exactly what Caitlyn accomplished.
Yeah. What do you think of Thresh Janna as a matchup for supports, though? Because I feel like if, of all the supports you can pick against Janna, I think of the three that we've seen a lot of, Nami's probably quite a bit better than Thresh.
Yeah, well, the thing about Thresh Janna is if Thresh grabs your AD carry, you just kind of tornado their AD carry and it's a stalemate from there. I think the disengage coming out of Janna is just much superior at this point. As we see Jarvan Nidalee being picked up, so getting rid of that Narvan combo. Did not want to see that one on the board, but ignoring Rek'Sai.
Yeah, Nidalee was a ban as well in our last game, so we are going to have Nidalee this time for Sudden Fear. But yeah, Rek'Sai potentially can fall through this draft, actually. I mean, Qlimax still need a jungler, so Sybil, if he's confident on that champion, can go ahead and take Rek'Sai, but we'll see what he wants here. Lee Sin also being banned. I mean, of all the good junglers, Rek'Sai's the only one left.
Yeah, no, I think Sybil would prefer to take maybe even a Rengar here. Oh, wow, going for an Elise. We haven't seen that in a while, as well as the Tristana coming through. That late game hyper carry, they've got a really potent late game lineup.
Yeah, I think Moon going to feel the loss of Janna just a little bit, though. Got Thresh instead. Perfectly fine support champion, but I mean, I guess if you need to make plays, Thresh you kind of have to have. I feel like teams lean on Thresh as an engage tool a little too much, where they'll just pick good champions and be like, we need engage. Thresh is fine.
Yeah, well, depending on what Katie has here, they have a great three-man roam squad with, of course, the Elise coming through for the Cocoon. Thresh being able to lock them up even more. You throw something like a LeBlanc on top of that, maybe even a Syndra, you can completely erase people off the map. So we'll see what they tie out their comp with. But once again, last picking mid. And well, maybe APAPS is actually on that LeBlanc this time around, and they're going to be sending Christmas trees top with a Nidalee.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, Nidalee probably more common top than mid, although we don't see too much of her just in general. Seems like Sudden Fear are going to stick to their guns as far as kind of CG poke comps go. And last pick, actually, Syndra, good call there for Qlimax crew. Going to have Katie be on yet another aggressive mid laner.
Yeah, I think that plays out fantastically for Katie. Syndra gives LeBlanc nightmares. As soon as LeBlanc distortions in, can just push her back with that Scatter of the Week, and potentially has even probably greater burst potential if she can get enough orbs down early game. So I like the way that goes. 2v2 though, I think Apex and a Pink Bomi does have the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Syndra being a surprisingly short-range caster once you use your stun, and I think LeBlanc, a champion that goes almost melee on you a lot of the time with distortion, that's perfect time for Syndra.
Yeah, it definitely is. Syndra likes people that come to her. She's very, very good at kiting around, very good mobility-wise, but yeah, it's funny, she has one of the longest range setups and then one of the shortest range combos.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird mix of things. Great wave clear from long range as well, using that same stun. But Syndra is just a very unique champion. Strong wave clear, strong burst, immobile with decent range, unless you're trying to kill someone. So we'll see what happens. I think that's the reason that DFG just sort of fell off as an item that Syndra's built, because they're like, I can never get close enough to you to use this.
Yeah, certainly. And it also doesn't help out much with the wave clear that we spoke. So important for Syndra to be able to contribute to. I think bottom lane is a very, very dynamic matchup right now. Tristana has arguably one of the strongest 1-3s for an AD carry, and then probably has the weakest lag between level 9, and then picks up when she gets a couple of items. Caitlyn, on the other hand, has good laning, but not really. She has a smooth power curve, we call it. She doesn't get really obnoxiously strong at any point in the game until she has maybe that 6 items. So I feel they need to shove the wave against Stealthix, otherwise Stealthix might be able to get a little bit aggressive early.
Well, it's interesting because you mentioned that Caitlyn's pretty smooth on the power level. I feel like her actual mid game as far as output goes is actually quite low, but her strength comes from sieging, which you kind of mentioned in the pre-game for game 1. The one thing we didn't see Sudden Fear do that entire game was move that Caitlyn early to another lane and try and push. And that's why Caitlyn's mid-game strength really lies.
Yeah, and that was really surprising because they had the Xerath mid lane as well to really complement that. And for them not to, I guess, opt into that strategy showed how far late they were willing to play that game.
Yeah.
I feel in this game particularly, they need a greater buffer because they do have maybe that one tank lineup that we've talked against a team that will have 3 really, really tanky people in Thresh, in the Elise, as well as the Nara in the top lane.
And it's almost like both teams have made a couple of adjustments here and there, but have very similar looking team comps to game 1. Sudden Fear with the Nidalee, they're kind of replacing the poke that Xerath might have put out, still going for probably more of a siege, more of a poke comp, and that Caitlyn's going to be a revisit here as well. Same thing with Qlimax as well, just lots of decent tanks, really good pick potential, and it's a matter of can Katie, who put up a great performance in the first game, now be used as a better tool, because his team didn't quite play around him like we mentioned.
Yeah, I think they just need to control vision for Katie, because Katie does want to get in there, does want to take people off the map. Interestingly enough, I have checked out Christmas Tree's Nidalee will be AP, so a very poke-heavy Nidalee. Maybe trying to get a spear in on someone so Apaps can jump in and finish them off. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. And then, of course, Caitlyn being able to ultimate someone as well. That's just a lot of long-range damage that can come through. But you would feel that that is definitely a one-tank composition coming out of them. So if they play it a little bit wrong, we saw it yesterday, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we are going to move into game 2 here, though, as Sudden Fear going to swap around to the left-hand side. They won an epic first game here in this best of 3, and Qlimax now backs against the wall. Going to have to rattle off 2 straight on the red side, I guess red side for this game, blue side for the third if they make it here, and we'll see what the teams want to be doing. And again, very similar looking team makeups here for both sides. I think actually LeBlanc is almost underrated as a Siege champion as well. Oh, hook. Not going to land there, but Qlimax are doing something very different here at level 1. They're getting really aggressive.
Yeah, and Na's great at getting aggressive for number 1 because of the slow that comes off the boomerang. If you're able to catch it, just can permanently, it's almost a Mundo Cleaver at level 1. Squiggle able to utilize that. Does get a nice deep ward on the red buff, so they will maybe know where the jungler from Sudden Fear is going to start. Will be... I think that both junglers have pretty versatile routes, actually. I don't think either suffers too much. Of course, Elise can tank with those Spiderlings. She stays extremely healthy.
I think that's just one of the interesting things about the new jungle in general is that you have pretty strong options in terms of what you want to start. The jungle gives you pretty good benefits across almost all of the camps on the map, and the buffs just aren't as important now because they don't last as long. They're fine, especially for your early ganks, but it's less about trying to do a full clear of the jungle, more about clearing key parts of your jungle and then adapting from there. So it's almost like everywhere, like with the whole jungle being buffed and being much stronger, it just feels like the buffs are less important, and it's more how much do you do, where do you want to go, and where on the map do you want to end up?
Yeah, I think the important way to look at it is we took the onus from the buffs from camps were taken away, and we put a lot of it onto Smite. So Smite now, really interesting tool, whether you go that Trailblazers, where you go the Chilling Smite, that's what you use to gank as opposed to the buff. So you have to look at it that way, as in a little bit of transferable power, and I like it because it gives a lot more tools to your jungler.
Yeah, a lot more decision making as well, especially in the early stages of the game, but we will kick things off here with standard lanes here. Energizer and Bowler versus Stealthix and Moon here in the bottom lane. And we're expecting, again, a pretty interesting curve in this lane because Tristana's going to be great now, not so good later, and then interesting things will start happening once we start grouping as 5.
Yeah, and you can tell how Tristana's going to play by how she levels up her skills. Generally, you see them put 3 or 4 points into that E and then start maxing the Q up to get that attack speed in nicely to try and round that out. And then if they pick up a static shiv, makes up for a lot of the, I guess, roughness in the power curve. However, with the shield going on to Caitlyn, just going to be able to shove in repetitively. And wow!
My goodness, there's been a lot of aggression. Christmas Trees level 2. Would have had a kill if he wanted to go for it, but little too dangerous to dive under that tower. But Squiggle struggling early on, and we don't often see Nah getting bullied in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely don't. And it looks like Christmas Trees has picked up a Duran's Blade. Whether that's just for a little bit of bully potential against Squiggle in the early game, or they will stick to it, I don't know, because you can see a little bit of AP masteries and runes coming in for Christmas Trees.
Yeah, 18 flat AP already at level 1. Here's Sybil, though, coming through Christmas Trees. Gonna have to get out. No slow fourth coming from Squiggle's Boomerang, though. So we're going to walk over a trap, eat a spear to the face, and Christmas Tree should be just fine.
Yeah, is leaping away. Decided not to go off the wall. I think that Sybil actually had vision of that. Surprising they didn't decide to move Katie up to try and cut that one off. Maybe didn't want to.
That's very dangerous, though. Sybil going to catch Christmas Trees on the way back, and big miss by Nidalee will flash and pounce away, but there's the repel forward, and first blood goes quickly to Sybil.
That is horrible decision-making coming out of the top laner. Just deciding with such little health, didn't actually see where Sybil went, and then decided to revisit upriver, not even through lane, in a very, very pushed wave. After looking like they were having a good start to the top lane, turns out disastrously, Nah's going to have the level advantage and CS advantage now, may even get a free back off that, and it does look like it's going to be an AD Nidalee.
Yep, teleport already burnt as well, so Christmas Tree is going to be back on the split push plan. We wondered if they were going to go for even heavier siege, actually, after everything, but no, it seems like we are just going to have more split pushing here. Christmas Trees with Shen in game 1 going to be looking pretty similar in terms of split push potential here on Nidalee as well.
Yeah, I think that Nah will just be able to build tank though and still bully Nidalee out of the lane. Of course, a lot of mixed damage does come out of AD Nidalee as well. Some aggression in the bottom lane. Not much happening. Moon just getting a little bit of health taken off.
Yeah, everyone just kind of hanging out. CS actually dead even right now between the two AD carries. I believe the turrets are pretty healthy as well, so it's one of the annoying things, I guess, for Caitlyn against Tristana is that you can't really pressure turrets because of explosive shot. If you work together as a team and are able to clear minions out from under your turrets quickly, Tristana actually can push back away very, very quickly. She's not very good at freezing it, as we've found out, but very, very good at making sure everything's A-okay.
Yeah, because of how that explosive shot works, of course. Not able to freeze waves. Nightmares in the top lane for Christmas Trees, actually, as there's a gank coming down bottom for Sybil, so I'll touch on that a little bit later.
Yep, Sybil actually moving through there. I'm going to start the fight, though. Exhaust already gone down for Moose. Deltix jumps in very aggressively onto Energizer, and here's the Elise coming through as well. Energizer looks like it's going to go down already. Cocoon just right there for Sybil. Energizer, though, fighting 3v1, can't get a kill and does go down to Steltix.
Yeah, and I mentioned it last game how much Sybil likes to impact the map early. Didn't even pick up an assist for that one. Had the kill already, but getting a kill over onto Tristana early, being able to push out this lane, as Apex goes a little bit aggressive, it's just so important for Qlimax crew to start rolling.
Yeah, Sidra actually not really struggling. A CS behind her. She clears out the rest of the wave under her turret. So pretty much even here. Lane going quite a bit differently here than it did in game 1 with Apex getting a nice lead on Xerath early on. But 43 to 42 is just fine here for LeBlanc versus Syndra. And I think it's a good point to touch on Sybil's aggression because when he played Jarvan in the first game, he was not doing pretty much anything at all to pressure lanes.
Yeah, he was impactful in the first blood at level 6 for the first time, but before that really didn't hit up much, as you mentioned, as we have a very even mid lane, perfectly even in fact at this point in the game. Both have level 6, so this is where explosions will start happening.
It's kind of moving to the rest of it as well. Skirmish to Saber here, the choice of Squiggle's actually going to go in. Does have Mega now ready to go, but Christmas Trees will back off towards his own brush. Has to be careful, Squiggle's pretty tricky to fight here, even though he doesn't have his ultimate, but Nidalee is struggling a little, winning on CS, which is nice. Good bounce there for Squiggle, but can't quite combo the wallop in, and Nidalee does continue farming up here.
Yeah, so 5 CS advantage, but had to use a teleport to get that. Whereas right now, if Squiggle wanted to go back, maybe pick up some items, would be able to teleport back to lane. As we have once again Moon and Sybil teaming up, being able to spot out exactly where Jarvan is on the map.
Good wards there from Bowler. Oh, that vision. Really nice from that Raptor camp, able to clear out that ward. And yeah, Sudden Fury kind of backing up towards their turret now. Good ward there from Energizer. Will pop down his trinket. Actually, spite once again. Squiggle will bounce out of the way. Christmas Trees not quite looking in for another spear, and managing to bully the Gnar out, but as you mentioned, he will go back to base now, buy some items, and things will look a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, so he's got the teleport available. Yeah, he's 12 CS down, he's getting bullied around a little bit, but now he's gone back, picked up a couple of cloth armors for himself, being able to get some potions. He's back at the turret already, so yeah, I think whilst the lane is going well for Christmas Trees, given how the early game went, I just think it could be going so much better because he is playing it phenomenally. Just made one judgment call.
Yeah, just that awkward, really good gank actually from Sybil. I think we have to credit Elise for some really nice pressure up towards the top. As we can see, another fight against Squiggles come back, and Christmas Trees may have made an error here. Boomerang doesn't land, actually flashes for it, but the wallet might be enough there with the last auto, and it is. Squiggle does not pay for that, and transforms into Mega Knight for style.
Yeah, able to get a Summoner spell out of Squiggle there as well, and an Invade coming through.
Oh, red buff. Oh, the Cocoon business doesn't matter though. Sybil and Syndra, the ultimate plus the Venomous Bite there, deletes that poor jungler from the map.
Yeah, Sybil picking up that kill. Maybe didn't want to. Maybe should have given it over to Katie, but this will mean the first dragon of the game will be picked up because they did take out the jungler. And wow, choosing to teleport back top again. Christmas Trees is putting so much emphasis and resources into winning this lane 1v1.
I mean, that dragon is going to go to Qlimax. They did win the first dragon in pretty similar fashion in game 1 as well, but playing even more aggressively in this game. And for me, Sybil has almost turned into a different player on this Elise.
Yeah, I think he's recognized how much more aggressive he needs to get early and controlling vision. He's picked up a Sight Stone on his Elise as well as a sweeper nice and early to try and get rid of some vision. And you mentioned that the Raptors camp as well, moving into the bottom lane, they're just playing this game much cleaner.
Yeah, I think what they don't want to have happen is get a repeat of last game where they kind of get themselves into an awkward 60-minute game where, honestly, it's almost like a 50-50. Because if you lose a team fight that late into the game's just over. It doesn't matter how well you've played up until that point. So they've got a bit of an insurance policy here in Tristana as far as carries go, but their comp's going to scale really smoothly to about 45 minutes, and they should be able to maneuver a winning position to that once they reach that point.
Yeah, you just mentioned the insurance policy with Tristana. Put an Avarice Blade on top of that insurance policy. Is up in CS, even though has gone for probably the most defensive build with gold regeneration. Wow, Squiggle needs to be careful.
Yeah, no, needs to bounce out of this one. Can't quite find the bounce yet. Almost Mega Knight, but there's a good Chilling Smite as well. Can't quite get the next bounce. So Squiggle, great ultimate though. Oh, very nice there. Gets the rage and uses the ult immediately to transform, and that's a nice way to get himself out of a very sticky situation.
Yeah, and being able to pick up all that armor early with the Warden's Mail being picked up, sorry. He's going to be so hard to kill with the 2 physical damage threats. Nidalee is going to have to get into that Cougar form to get some magic damage down if she's going to win some trades.
Sure. Squiggle finds more friends again, throws out his Boomerang. Doesn't manage to clear out that ward though, so Squiggle doing nicely here, clearing, I think, a pink ward that he must have spotted there.
Yeah, it certainly was a pink ward, so that's good for him. Getting it off the map as soon as it was placed down nearly. As we see APAP struggling a little bit, CSing onto that turret, but he's on 92 at 10 minutes, so props to him. He's nearly on perfect CS.
Yeah, it seems like Morello Normicon is on the way here, and actually Athene's is going to be the build for Katie, so changing it up a little bit from the LeBlanc game he played.
Yeah, I really like the Athenes against LeBlancs. As I said, if you can survive LeBlanc's initial burst, which Athenes helps you do a lot, it just benefits you so much more. As Sybil stalking LeBlanc's lane, actually making sure the blue cannot be handed off. Great play from the jungler from Qlimax crew.
Yeah, really nice. I mean, Sybil, again, just applied so much more pressure in this game as Elise than he did on Jarvan, despite both junglers being very good at pressuring early. Squiggle versus Christmas Trees once again here. Lane going in favor of Christmas Trees as far as CS goes, but here comes Sybil going to repel in, finds a creep to go to. Boomerang just missing there as well. Doesn't get the third wallop hit either.
Yeah,
hyper hit, sorry.
As we see a lot of pressure being put on this mid lane as well. AD's being left to 1v1. You'd have to say that this still is going in Tristana's favor, even though Caitlyn has clawed back that that minus 10 CS advantage from now a plus 10. Big wave coming in for Stealthix. He's looking absolutely fine on this Tristana.
I mean, it doesn't matter that he's not winning. Great Nara ultimate, actually. Christmas Trees has to be careful. Gets a rock thrown at him as well. Petzl's back in the mini now, but good pressure here. And Christmas Trees, for all the winning he's done in this top lane, still 20 CS ahead at this point. Squiggle, if he gets a foothold back into this lane, Christmas Trees just does nothing because he's invested so much in just winning this lane.
Yeah, he certainly has his... Wow!
Oh, what a hook there onto Energizer himself. Stealthix flashes in, tries to insect him with the ultimate, but still gets the kill anyway. I think that flash timing got pretty awkward for both ADs, but a clean kill for Trist in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Stealthix jumping in there, hyper aggressive. We mentioned that this is the time that Tristana tends to struggle. 2 kills, and all that money from the Avarice Blade is going to completely nullify that power curve.
Yep, Energizer died with his heal up there as well, and Brawler just not able to help peel for that Caitlyn, and that was a clean kill with a great hook by Moon there. Now Sybil going to rotate in and do what Elise loves to do. Time to see the turret in range form. Oh, never mind. Melee form instead.
You mentioned that Elise is very, very unique in a jungler, is adds siege potential from the jungle position. There's not many junglers that do it. We've actually seen some cool experimentation that hopefully we'll see come out in the Pro League when a couple of teams play, because, wow, as there's some aggression in the top lane.
Squiggles, nah, though. Starting to abuse this Nidalee quite a bit more here. I think Christmas Trees is not having a fun time. And he's still up in CS as well.
Yeah, he's CS is completely fine, but You know, CS should... wow, there's a gun coming through.
Good slow, actually. I think Squiggle's going to be fine. He does not have enough rage. Good bounce, but he gets caught in the Cataclysm. Squiggle's going to try and fight here, but he's thinking to take a little too much damage. A good flash. Booming going to flash on top. Another good boomerang here. Can he proc the hype? And not enough, and the execute will take him out there.
Yeah, so finally Christmas Tree is getting something in his favor. A little bit of a visit mid from Moon will mean that they pick up a turret. So once again, losing a kill, but able to pick up 2 objectives pretty much. For no response.
Yeah, and Qlimax definitely playing this game much more aggressively than they did. Hook almost landing on the Paps there as well. But the gold leaders are 3,000 already with 2 turrets to 0 plus their first dragon as well, which doesn't even give any gold anymore. So Qlimax, you know, they played pretty aggressively to start off game 1, but this is even faster, I think, than that game. They want to win here around 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think that they're playing this game much more, I guess, decisively. We've mentioned on how important it is for people to really make clear decisions in the mid game. As we see, Tristana Stealthy's actually not going for the... sorry?
Not going for Infinity
Static
Edge?
Shiv.
Static Shiv, yeah.
Yeah, first actually electing to go for the Infinity Edge, which shows a lot about Stealthic's mindset. Thinks that he's ahead far enough to go for a very late game build so early.
Yeah, and I mean, this Infinity Edge, if it pops up in the next few minutes, Celtics is going to be in a very happy position. Has a dagger as well, kind of amusingly, so Berserker Greaves will probably quickly follow that IE if that's the way he's going. And if he hits it earlier, which it looks like he's going to do based on the kills and gold he already has, Tristana is already annoying enough when she hits her mid-game, just kind of gets out of that mid-game trough, but if she skips it entirely, it's horrible to play against.
Yeah, it certainly is. The reason I thought that they would go for the Static Shiv is because Dragon is going to be up, and that's before the Infinity Edge is coming through. As wow, nice dancing shoes out of Moon there to get away from that. We'll be able to pick up the pink ward, and they've just got complete control over this Dragon area.
Oh, good 3-man stun as well there from Katie, and they're going to force this Dragon fight here. Squiggle up the top is attacking Christmas Trees, who's low, but we're going to start this Dragon off now as well. No way for Nidalee to teleport down here at all, and this Dragon's going to go over, I think, uncontested here. Pap's going to dive in, maybe try and get some work done. Gets low, but at least will smite it away. Good hook as well into Energizer almost to follow up there, and now Christmas Trees in the top lane, struggling again against this Nah.
Yeah, Nah, even though he's nearly 30 CS down, is doing work at this point. Just pressuring Christmas Trees on Nidalee completely out of the lane. 2 dragons now in 15 minutes for Qlimax. They've got a much better look in on this mid-game, and you would have to say a lot of it has to do with Sybil's jungle.
I think so too here. Great Coon. Now, speaking of Sybil, roller there with a nice shield there. But again, just the vision so strong here. Good grab there on the Paps. Moon will go in, pops the box as well. Exhausts him through there. Katie can't quite find it, and a good ultimate there from Brawler to keep him alive, and not quite enough damage there from Katie with only the level 1 ultimate onto Energizer. So didn't get the pick they wanted there, but Qlimax is just playing a much faster paced game here, and I think they really just didn't like losing a 60-minute game.
Yeah, it definitely didn't appear to. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication as we have a little bit of aggression in the top lane. I think Christmas Trees needs to be careful here. Squiggles nearly got his transform.
Hyper there popped as well. There's Mega now coming through. Grey Wallop there coming out. There's the boulder toss. The bounce on top as well, and Squiggle needs it, finds it, lines up the rock, and throws it right in Nidalee's face.
Yeah, that was another TP burn from Christmas Trees to get back in his lane. That is 3, I think, for none. Maybe 1 on Squiggle's side. And he's just continually won the 1v1.
I like Sybil as well, even rotated towards the top lane, knowing that his top lane is getting into a duel in case exactly this happened. In fact, they're going in. Paps coming in. There's a repel down. Lanterns out easily there. Moon, right place, right time for that one. And Qlimax just playing this map so well.
Yeah, they look like they've nailed the vision control. You can see that their wards on the bottom side of the jungle rotating around the map where they don't have vision as a group of 3. We mentioned how good Elise and, Fresh are when they're together. So really nicely played there from the support jungle duo.
And that was the big thing we mentioned, is that Qlimax, the only thing they didn't really do, despite having a strong start to their first game and good mid-game champions, didn't ward enough and couldn't be aggressive enough when they wanted to be with the champions they had. Completely different story this time around. They've tightened up their vision control. They're getting picks left, right, and center. 6-1 now in kills, plus the 2 turrets and the 2 dragons. And we're only 17 minutes into this game. This is on pace to be a very, very fast game. And a patch that honestly has significantly slower games than we saw last season.
Yeah, and Static Shiv has now been finished off by Stealthy, so it looks like as the hook just misses from Moon, that he was going for that. He just fought the most damage he could when he had those items. Ethereal Chains coming out from Apex, missing as well, so looks like we're having a little bit of a lull, although Sybil moving in on that top side of the jungle.
Yeah, we can start getting some siege potential happening as well for Qlimax. Syndra, Trist, and Thresh pretty good at just bugging people under turrets.
Christmas Tree's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, at least going to be able to dive here pretty cleanly. Sybil just lining up for that Cocoon. Goes in a little late, flashes forward, leads the Cocoon a little too far, but Venomous fights more than enough. No, the shield comes in from Brawler. Moon trying to get in there as well. Repel does land in, but the exhaust will come down. The turret goes down, however, as Moon does look for a hook, and the rest of Qlimax rotating through as well. That did not work out the way they wanted, but they're actually still in a great position here.
Yeah, he kind of led him with a Cocoon, and he had to double back. A great flash in from Brawler to keep him alive. However, turret falls. They pick up exactly what they want. No one dies, so still a win out of Qlimax, and they've completely wiped out the outer ring now. They can continue to siege down the inner turrets.
And the nice thing here is that Qlimax are always sticking together. You saw the entire team rotate up for that diving because they assumed that the rest of Sun and Fury was going to come in and try and defend. So everything they're doing incredibly safely. And Pink Bomi, very unsafe here on this Jarvan, trying to get some pressure onto this turret. Lansing will move out there. Skrynglob just caught him moving up north, I think.
Yeah, he's being caught out, definitely. Unless he suicides here, he's in a lot of trouble. They've gone around and completely flanked him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go in. He might actually be in time for the suicide. Katie chasing in, doesn't find the stun. He actually flashes out, going to move in towards the Nexus turrets, and Qlimax going to leave him to die.
Yeah, they don't care whatsoever. If you're willing to burn your flash for a potential execute, even a recall at this point, that's just not worth it on the side of the jungler. And wow, Christmas Tree's once again in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Squiggle chasing him down once again. This Nara's has been so annoying. Sybil going to join the party as well. Cocoon leads a little too far again, but Christmas Trees, he's got nowhere to run. The boomerang misses, but Sybil with the targeted Q, able to take him out in spider form.
Yeah, and Sybil's now picked up 3 kills for himself. You would think that that's probably gold not going where they wanted to on the side of Qlimax, but they're just building such a lead that it doesn't matter. Look how more effective he has been around the map. 3 kills for himself to only the 1 assist on the side of Sudden Fear.
And can't credit this at least enough, I think. Sybil's just played such a different game here than the one we saw in Game 1. So much more confident as well, I feel, for Qlimax. Really just kind of said that, you know what? Game 1 was just a bit sloppy on our part. We didn't quite have enough vision control, didn't respect our opponent's win conditions or our own win conditions. Got kind of shenned in different elements as well. Playing a just beautiful game at this point.
Yeah, I think Celtics rotating around to pick up a massive wave. What you were touching on there, I think, is that they're just playing this much more strategically sound. We questioned their vision control, whether they understood exactly how they needed to get the LeBlanc going last game. That's definitely not an issue this game. All 3 of their lanes are exactly where they want them.
Yep, now Celtics going to go back. Probably has enough for that Infinity Edge as well if he wants to go pick it up. Does indeed. So we'll have a shiny new item ready to go. As Squiggle again continuing to harass Christmas Trees. Again, this is tank Gnar at this point. Just a Doran's play for offensive items. And that Hyper plus the Mega Gnar damage is just doing so much work. And you can see why Gnar is such a first pick or ban champion.
Yeah, and Gnar's great because he can go that pure tank. And he lends himself with so much base stats, but also the amount of CC he can put out. The Gnar with that AoE, of course, that, wow. Aggressive move there from Paps. Great dodge coming out of Sybil, though.
Yeah, nice repel there. Wouldn't have stopped the chains, but just stops any follow-up damage from coming through. And Qlimax are looking for this next dragon. It's now up and ready to go. And this will be their 3rd straight in 21 minutes. Really strong control here from Qlimax just throughout this entire game.
Yeah, already rotated Gnar down, looking to get him in the mid lane. And it looks like they've completely given this one away. Picked up on the side of Qlimax crew, so that's 3 for 0 at 21 minutes in, as you mentioned. They're in a very good position.
And there's just nothing that Sudden Fear can do. Squiggle does get caught, but Atlanta will come in. In fact, maybe fancies himself just going in instead. Repel aggressively forward by Sybil there as well. But no, let us keep playing.
Ooh,
and again,
nice stun.
Christmas Trees does get out there. Doesn't even have his Trinity Force, by the way. This Nidalee is so far behind.
Yeah, and picked up the Ninja Tabbo with the amount of damage that comes out from that Hyper on the W that is all magic from Gnar. Maybe a little bit of a missed pickup. Will get rid of a lot of the auto attack harass, but I don't feel that is what is actually killing him at this point. And Gnar's rotated down into the bottom lane, looking to get that one pushing, but it looks like the rest of the Qlimax crew just backing off.
And this is the place that Sudden Fear didn't want to find their team composition in. They've got good poke, good split push, and they can play, a pretty nice 4-1 siege game or split push game if they want to. But when they're this behind and Qlimax are constantly grouping and pressuring them in their own jungle or under the turrets, there's just no options here for Sudden Fear.
Yeah, the problem with AD Nidalee is she just does nothing if she doesn't win lane. If you cannot bully someone 1v1, there are not many options for her. Not a great team fighter, doesn't have the CC that Gnar offers, obviously. And I feel that lane just didn't go the way they wanted to it, even after all the investment.
Yeah, now Blue Buff going to get stolen away as well here. Qlimax will likely give that over to Katie if at all possible, just make that Syndra even stronger. And there we go. Sybil even counter-juggling the Wolves as well. And now Squiggles put himself on split push duty. Gonna look for a 2v1 here. Pink Bomi's gone in on Java. Energizer rotating through, plus the Nidalee here. There's the slowdown smite. Will he bounce out as Meganar? And yep, Sudden Fear already back up. Christmas Trees wants to fight, but the rest of the team's like, no, let's not do it.
Yeah, and all the meanwhile, Tristana's picked up a 22 CS creep wave in the top lane. Now got that Infinity Edge and the Static Shiv sitting very pretty. If they can get a Bloodthirst on top of that, going to be so strong on this mid-game Tristana.
Yeah, and Sudden Fear just, again, their mid laner doesn't even have options. LeBlanc, who's great at picking people off in jungle skirmishes, just is forced back under turrets constantly here. Energizer struggling for farm. LeBlanc's doing nicely, but Qlimax are all over this map right now. Squiggle's doing a great job split pushing and just pressuring Sudden Fear as best he can. And now Stealthix has picked up a turret along with Sybil.
Yeah, you would think that now that the turrets are positioned the way they are, that's just too much of an advantage for Qlimax. Well,
oh my god, 6 stun into hook there. Perhaps we'll get out there. Brawler resets with the ultimate, but he gets pretty low. Good Flash Cocoon just missing there for Sybil. But Qlimax, it doesn't matter. Great double stun again there for Katie. And they'll keep pressuring here. They just don't care.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Squiggle once again in the bottom lane, bullying around Christmas Tree, pushing that lane in repetitively, picking up even more CS for himself. He now has the advantage after being down probably 30 CS in the early game. Now he's up 10.
Yeah, and Squiggle's got a ton of gold to spend here as well. If he wants, he's got 1,500 gold ready to go. Trinity Force has been finished here by Christmas Trees, but too little too late, I feel like, on that one. Dragon will be coming up in a couple more minutes as well, and that will be the 4th Dragon in a world record time, you almost have to think.
Yeah, if they pick up 4 Dragons at this point in the game, they're just going to be rotating around the map so quickly as Jarvan's doing a little bit of counter juggling, so still nice positive play coming out of Sudden Fear. But yeah, the Dragons are just getting very dangerous.
I mean, something has to try here for Sudden Fear. So good steal there for Jarvan, but he's still struggling with his build. Just kind of got the core elements. Perhaps going in onto Katie. Ace in the hole comes through as well. Stealthix though will block that one out for himself. Infinity Edge is here for Caitlyn though, and the Rabadons is almost completed with the Morellonomicon for Paps. So Sudden Fear are going to have more options here, but it still might be too little too late in this game.
Yeah, and it looks like Christmas Trees will finally be able to pick up a turret for himself in the bottom lane. No, sees the Gnar coming, so going to have to back off.
Yeah, Squiggle just coming in, says, you know what, we've done this song and dance quite a few times already in this lane. Christmas Tree is going to kite away, maybe look for the turret kill. Great bounce though for Squiggle, just going to miss that boomerang as well. Hyper actually didn't quite proc, needs one more auto, misses that boomerang.
The whole team is collapsing, however. Tristana coming up from the side. I don't think that Christmas Trees can get anyone. No, they just leave once again.
Yeah, Qlimax just don't care. Dragon's up in 2 minutes. They'd rather get deep vision here in the red side of the jungle. Squiggle actually teleporting to try and start off a fight here. Deep wards go down. Red buff's going to get stolen away as their preference. Tristana in the mid, pushing on the tier 2 once again. Qlimax still complete control.
Yeah, huge minion wave, however, crashing into that top turret. So they are losing out on some resources at this point in the game. And now Sudden Fear have the teleport advantage. I think the Qlimax will just continue to group up, so it might not be much of an advantage, but at least they can get Nidalee into a separate lane, maybe send her top again, and pick up some much-needed farm.
And Sudden Fear have been farming well. They've got good items coming up at fine times as well here, but the gold lead is massive here for Qlimax. About 7,000 gold between these two teams already, and that's just not a lead you can afford to let your opponents get at this point in the game. Gold leads matter a much worse indicator now in this patch because there's a lot less global gold to collect. So if this is the lead that you have at 25 minutes, you're doing even better than you normally would. And 7,000 was a good gold lead in the last season as well.
Yeah, so Squiggle, unfortunately, using his ultimate in mid lane on nothing, it looked like. So that will be on cooldown. Needs to get it up before the next dragon. Looks like they will be sending... Wow.
Oh, great Cocoon there as well. Moon going to join in with a flare, and Katie picks up that first kill. Pink Bomi dives in the back, but a good flash from Syndra gives her the double kill. Now Squiggle rotating through. Christmas Tree's in trouble as Squiggle nars back LeBlanc and energizes Caitlyn. Christmas Trees finds his old friend Gnar, gets walloped there as Stealthix will clean up that kill, and 3 clean kills for 0. Dragon coming here as well. Qlimax crew looking to close this one out early.
Yeah, this is so bad on the side of Sudden Fear. They were just caught out by a great Syndra Sun. Weren't even able to take Katie off the map. And you would think that this would be another inner turret rotating into a dragon. That will be number 4 and just a commanding position.
Yep, 5 turrets, 4 dragons, and 10 kills to 1 here for Qlimax. Have basically every advantage you can want bar Baron. And we didn't even talk about it in the draft, but there is so much pick potential here in Qlimax's comp. Just like their Game 1 comp, they're playing it so much better.
Yeah, well, we said that they had a great 3-man rotating around the map with Sybil, Katie, and Moon, but the amount of I guess, farm Squiggle has been able to pick up just means that he can join them as well and just lock down a whole team. So they're not looking to catch one or two people. They're looking to catch everyone, and they're looking to do it again.
Oh, Squiggle almost finds Energizer on the back of the boomerang. It's actually pretty close to Meganar as well if Qlimax do want to start a fight, but no one else is kind of there. Everyone went back to shop here. Defensive item coming here for Stealthix is maybe a bit early with the Spectre's Cal already finished up for him.
Yeah, I just thinks that there's no armor being built at this point. Wants to make sure that he can't die while they're taking out these turrets. And because he's so far ahead, even though he's picked up a defensive item, he's still a full item ahead of the Caitlyn.
Oh, steals the Grump as well. Pink Bomi in a bit of trouble, actually. Squiggle bounces over the top. He fancies himself in the 1v2. Steals the Grump, kills Pink Bomi, and Moon's going to get him out, but they don't care. We're going to keep going in for Paps here. Pops the passive there for LeBlanc. Great double play there as well. Paps is trying his way to get around here, but Sybil's now going to chase through as well. Tower goes down in the mid as Tristana gets that. Paps is dead. 2 kills for 0, sorry, plus the tower. And Sudden Fear might just tap the mat here.
Yes. Still trying to push in his Qlimax. They've got 2 members dead for quite a while. 30 seconds still on Paps. This will be the first inner turret.
Oh, Squiggle tries to make a big play with his ultimate, flashes forward, but does not gnar anyone. And remember that Qlimax have 4 dragons as well, so these turrets are melting swiftly in this team comp, and their first inhibitor of the game will go down in under 29 minutes as Sudden Fear are going to lose the top part of their base.
And look how much more confidently Qlimax are playing. Just one little sidestep and then continue to wail on the turret out of Stealthix. Playing a fantastic Nidalee game, and you have to look, they're going to go back, they're going to pick up a Void Star on this on Katie's mid laner here, Syndra, and she's going to be doing even more damage at this point. Gnar is just so tanky, able to transition into some damage here.
Yeah, I like the Brutalizer actually from Squiggle. Just realizing that he's doing quite a bit of damage, wants to just do a little bit more to be even more of a threat to the rest of the members of Sudden Fear. And there's just items aplenty here. Qlimax have way too much of a lead at this point. The first turret finally going down as Sudden Fear's minions will help them out and clear out that first turret in the bottom lane. But Christmas Trees here has to be careful. Squiggle, he's in a 1v2 he doesn't know about. Now Stealthix joins in as well on Tristana. I mean, items are still coming through, but Sudden Fear, the gold lead is just massive here. 10,000 gold and more, and counting now for Qlimax.
Yeah, and concentrating resources onto their 2 damage threats, making sure Tristana and Katie are the 2 most farm people in the game. Wow, Tristana on 11,000 gold to the 8,000 of Caitlyn, and wow, Brawler's been caught.
Oh, Sporley there does get caught by that poke. Box, though, will get walked through. Sybil keep chasing as well. Good exhaust, actually, might keep him alive, but there's the Dark Sphere for Katie landing, and that's an easy kill for Syndra.
Yeah, that might even be the game, using 2 summoner spells to try and stay alive, but still dying. That will be the mid inhibitor, definitely. Still got Tristana in the bottom wave as well. She'll be able to pick that one up for herself.
Yep, Stealthix split pushing. Good Sphere lands on the Energizer as he gets stunned up. Christmas Tree's done a poke with Trinity Force Nidalee, but it's not quite enough here. Qlimax will make it 2 inhibitors, and the third should follow pretty swiftly here. Christmas Tree's almost getting hooked over the wall there as well, and Qlimax, this game is practically over for Sudden Fear. It's going to take a miracle.
Especially where the minion waves are. They can just sit here for maybe 20 seconds, and someone is going to have to go top and pay attention to that one. Not to mention the mid wave that's going to continue to push through. So Qlimax in a fantastic position.
And they don't even need the Baron, which I think is the most impressive thing for me. I mean, they're going to try and defend here. Jana pretty good at defending turrets along with Caitlyn, but there are plenty of dive options. Energizer going to get obliterated there by Katie Syndra. And that might just be it here. 3rd inhibitor turret, and likely the 3rd inhib going down as well. Squiggle going in massive there. Tosses the boulder out onto Paps and slows both Jana and LeBlanc. 3rd inhibitor will fall here, and I think Qlimax might have found themselves a win.
Yeah, I think this may be the game coming in here from Qlimax crew. They've played this pretty textbook. Nice aggressive, and wow, I do not think that Squiggle will see Gnar again.
No, I don't think so. Just what a performance here. And we have to credit, I think, maybe Sybil's Elise here as well, so the turrets will get knocked down here. Sudden Fear just could find no answer for this little Yordle.
And yeah, that'll be the 2nd inhibitor turret picked up. They're moving in on the Nexus now. This will be game over. We're going to a game 3 pastry time.
We are indeed, and what a way to win game 2 here for Qlimax as well. Such a different look by Qlimax, and both teams proved like fairly similar compositions, I have to think. Sudden Fear still playing for a bit more of the siege and poke game, and Qlimax wanting to play their pick composition again. But just the way they executed that game was night and day from game one.
Yeah, and you've touched on Sybil. I feel that he was the catalyst. And the scary thing is, you say that Elise was a problem. I think it was just a change in mindset for Sybil, that he went so much more aggressive early game. Elise, yeah, she has a great early game, but so does Jarvan. I think that now if he's playing that way on anyone else, he'll be able to get through.
And I mean, we mentioned that Nah. There's a reason it's banned. First pick or banned so often here on this particular patch. Squiggle just wrecked Christmas trees in that top lane. That was a lane that Nidalee looked very confident in.
Yeah, well, I think that Christmas trees put a lot of resources into making sure his lane was ahead, but then Nah just, through being Nah, was able to stick in there and then eventually claw his way into a big team fighting presence where Christmas trees just didn't have that.
So if we're going to see a third game win here for Sudden Fear, what do you think they have to change moving in? Because that was a mauling by Qlimax crew.
Yeah, I think they just have to match jungle pressure. You saw how much more work Sybil did around the work. I think a Pink Bomby needs to do a lot more for his lanes, and they need to get Apaps aggressive. Like, he did absolutely nothing. He finished that game 0-1-0 on LeBlanc. You cannot lose a game as LeBlanc with only one death. You need to try and make something happen.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Qlimax crew and Sudden Fear are going to a third.